Hello fellow Rotarians. I think you would agree, as we do, that youth protection is a vital part of our interaction with all young people.
This is simply because their health and well-being are paramount.
In this session, we will cover all our responsibilities as Rotary Club members.
How to recognise abuse in children and what you should do if it becomes apparent or any child discloses abuse to you.
And importantly, our reporting guidelines. There are many components to the way Rotary protects children and young people who are involved in our programs and activities.
Specifically, we are going to talk about the Working with Children check that members may need to obtain, the Rotary Youth Volunteer Information and Declaration, or RYVD forms that members and volunteers need to fill out, annual reminder training that you are doing right now, the records that your club keeps about those forms.
Now let's have a brief look at what is meant by abuse and harassment. Note, this is not intended to be a highly detailed discussion.
Those of you who are or having been engaged in paid employment for education, health or law enforcement will have received far more detailed training than what we are doing now. Let's now look at the 5 most common categories of abuse. The first type or class of abuse we are looking at is neglect. Neglect is when a parent, guardian or caregiver cannot regularly give a child the basic things they need for their growth and development. This includes having a safe place to live, food, clothing, medical and dental care, adequate supervision and sufficient parenting and care. Parents also have a duty to protect their children's rights. The next class of abuse is sexual abuse involving a child in sexual activity, including adults using their power over children or taking advantage of their trust. It is a crime for a person to groom or procure a child for sex with them or another person. This includes exposing them to inappropriate pictures or people. The next form of abuse is physical abuse, including any non-accidental injury or pattern of injuries to a child or a young person, not providing sufficient nourishment for their needs, the requiring of an unreasonable amount of work, or inflicting any physical pain.
The next type or class of abuse is emotional abuse. This means damaging the confidence and self-esteem of a child or young person. In general, it is how many times and how long the child is harmed that determines its impact. For example, excessive criticism, the withholding of affection, any exposure to domestic violence, and any intimidation or threatening behaviour. Lastly,
we will review key aspects of sexual harassment. In some cases, sexual harassment precedes sexual abuse and is a technique used by sexual predators to desensitize, confuse, or groom their victims. Any sexually motivated advances, including comments to the effect that the adult finds the child or young person sexually attractive, or unwarranted or inappropriate physical contact, such as brushing or touching.
Let's now take a short break so that you can ask any questions you may have with your facilitator or club's youth protection officer.